All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about personal finance and specifically a free tool that I downloaded a few months ago. And I want to share all the cool stuff that I found and kind of help you maybe on your journey. But for first, our attorneys always make us say this is for educational purposes only. This is not legal, it's not a financial advice. So, my first question for you guys is where are you all? Where are you on your understanding of your current financial health? So, go ahead and put in a 1 to 10. Go ahead and put in the chat. How well do you feel like you have a good understanding of your financial health? So, 1 meaning I have no idea where things go. 10 meaning I know where every penny goes, every nickel. On a 1 to 10, go ahead and give me some feedback on a 1 to 10. How well do you understand your current financial health? So, got some numbers coming in. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Luther. Wow. Okay. I would put in a probably 8 or 9 myself. So, all similar there. Okay. Now, the reason I think this is super, super important is if we talk about health, you guys are familiar with some things, some terms like what? Blood pressure. Everyone knows what blood pressure is, but I bet you don't know what your actual blood pressure numbers are, right? It's important, but you probably don't have a good handle on what is unless you go to a doctor every month and you have it memorized. Now, obviously, if you go to a doctor all the time, that's usually not a good sign. If you go a couple times a week, probably not a good sign, right? But what I want to do is we're going to admit some more people. What I want to do is I want to kind of draw some parallels. And so what is an equivalent of something like blood pressure, but in your finances? Well, just as an example, I would say your liabilities. Now, most of you probably know what a liability is, but just to recap, it's basically a credit card debt, right? So if you have a $2,000 in a credit card debt, and you're paying $50 a month minimum, then you have a $2,000 liability. It's something you have to pay back. If you have a mortgage, if you have student loans, you have car loans, not the monthly payment, but the actual balance is considered your liability. Now, what about your health? When we talk about that again, what about your weight? What's an equivalent of your weight, but in financial terms? Well, what weighs on you? I would say debt. So again, debt is a lot of things that you have that you owe money on. It doesn't always have to be like, as Dave Ramsey likes to say, it's all debt is not automatically bad, right? I own quite a few things that are asset producing, and I have some mortgages against those. And the money coming in more than pays the actual mortgage, and it goes up in value, right? So not all debt is bad in Dave Ramsey's world, which I'll quote him. I got some mixed feelings in Dave Ramsey. You guys may or may not have heard of him. It's kind of a personal finance guru. Yeah. So I'll quote him in a little bit. But what about another health like heart rate? What about your heart rate? Well, to me, that is something like your cash flow, right? So your money coming in, your money going out. Well, I've actually met lots of people in my life, and I've met several people who have never made more than $30, $40 an hour who have $1 million net worth. And I've met multiple surgeons who make 700,000, 800,000 a year who couldn't even pay $1,000 surprise bill because they're so leveraged, money's going everywhere. And again, things like cash flow is not necessarily what you think. It's not how much you make, right? Most of you may know that someone like Michael Jackson, he died with he earned $2 billion personally during his career. 2 billion with a B, $2 billion during his lifetime. And he died with $500 million in debt. So what does that tell you? It tells you that it's not always about how much you make. It's the difference between how much you make and how much you spend. Obviously, in my example, having known several surgeons that make 800,000, when you have multiple homes and you travel all over the place and lots of bills, that money doesn't go very far. At the end of it, once you pay everything, there's not much left. And that's kind of what I'm talking about when I refer to cash flow. So the question is, Matt, how do I better understand my situation? How do I better understand? How do I do that? How do I better understand my financial health? And I'm glad you guys asked. And I want you guys to download this app called Rocket Money. It is free. I do have a free, kind of a paid version. I'm going to go ahead and throw a URL here for you guys in the chat. Oops. Hang on one sec. I have this URL. I'm going to throw in the chat real quick so you guys can go ahead and download it. So what I do is I actually downloaded it on my phone, and then I went onto the online version and I went ahead and connected some accounts, and I'll show you all the things that it pulls through. It's really cool. It does a lot of things for me, including like alerting me to things I didn't know. Right? You guys may have seen their ad. They have some ads on online that you've seen. They go up to random strangers in like Miami Beach and say, "Hey, how many things are you subscribed to? What subscriptions do you have? You know, things like Netflix, Spotify, iTunes, like what do you subscribe to on a monthly basis, Amazon Prime?" And they'll say, oh, like 3 or 4 things, and they'll show them actually it's 17 things, right? And all these little things that you don't realize you subscribe to. And this is one of the things that they kind of pitch as this, they can help you cancel some of these as well. So obviously, if you have 17 subscriptions and you think you have 4, and I'm going to show you some personal examples of this stuff, how it's helped me, stuff I didn't even know myself. So again, there's a URL. Go ahead and sign up. It is free to sign up. I'm not a salesperson. I don't have an affiliate link. It's free. So I'm getting commission on 0, right? I don't get anything out of this, but I want to share with you kind of what, in a few minutes, kind of more of what I've learned. Now, what are the things that it can, what can it do for you? What are the things that are helpful? Well, one of those things that it can do is you can absolutely understand your spending habits. You can track your recurring expenses, possibly cancel some. I actually didn't know I was paying $10 a month for something, actually $20 a month, two $10 a month things. And I went ahead and was able to cancel those because I didn't even realize it, right? I don't look super closely at every single bank statement. You guys probably don't either, with a fine tooth comb. But the other thing you can do is you can track and improve your credit score over time. So what does that mean? Imagine taking every month, taking an automatic screenshot of whatever your credit score is, up, down, whatever it is, and then plotting that over time so that you can get an idea, is it increasing, is it improving, is it decreasing, right? And there's things that we'll talk about in a minute that, of course, affect your credit score. The other thing is set up and follow a budget. So I'll show you kind of how I set my personal budget up, some of the categories, travel, utilities, bills, things like that. I have certain things I'll share some of that with you guys. And then, of course, email alerts. And I got examples of all this. I'm super excited. You guys ready to get into it? But first, I do want to say this is a Matt DeLong quote. Okay, ready? Write this down. Money is like rainwater. Money is like rainwater. What does that mean? Well, it goes wherever you allow it to go. It goes wherever you allow it to go. Now, obviously, when you get paid, if you have already kind of pre-spent the money, it's just going to go pay off, credit cards, whatever you spent, right? But what if you are a little more intentional? And what if you have some very specific things, X number of dollars or X% automatically goes into a retirement account? What about X% automatically goes towards maybe a giving account, right? So there's lots and lots of cool things that you can do and that this will help you with. But again, money is like rainwater. It goes wherever you allow it to go. And I've always heard people like, well, once I have extra money, then I'll save it. Well, guess what? It doesn't quite work like that, does it? When you have extra money, then you'll save it. Well, you'll never have extra money, right? So I will quote Dave Ramsey. I do take this from Dave Ramsey, give him props. Obviously, step one is save $1,000. So Dave Ramsey calls this your emergency fund. So you probably know this, but 72 to 80% of people, of Americans, if they had a surprise $1,000 bill, let's say it's a car repair, garage door breaks, washer starts leaking, $1,000, people just are not able to pay that. Now, obviously, something like $1,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but it does relieve a little bit of pressure when you're literally squeezing every penny out of your paycheck and you just barely make it. Dave Ramsey would say that there's too much month left at the end of the check, right? It's like you got too much time left before the next paycheck comes. And so, especially I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. Some of you guys may or may not know that I've never actually had a real job, quote unquote, real job. And I actually went to a community college for a few semesters. I don't know if I told you that, Gina. And I ended up dropping out and I ended up subscribing to Entrepreneur Magazine. And so my entrepreneur education cost me $25 a year. And I decided when I dropped out of college, I was going to read it every month, cover to cover, Entrepreneur Magazine, for 10 years. And so when I got married, my wife had this, I had this huge stack of Entrepreneur magazines. The covers were falling off, all the things, right? And so in this case, that's kind of what that's my personal journey. And I want to make sure you guys all kind of think about as we go through this, like how this can help you. Again, of course, step one, save $1,000. Thank you, Dave Ramsey. And I'm going to go ahead and so those of you joining us, I'm recommending a free tool that you're able to download, log in, and install. Now, step two, of course, is to download the app. It is in the Google Play Store. So those of you who use iPhones, it is in the Apple Store, the App Store. So either one, Google Play, App Store, either one, go ahead and download it on your phone, and then also create an account, free account, set up, log in. And then what I did was I went ahead and went to, I logged in via my laptop, and I was able to connect my account. So think about what are some accounts you can connect. Well, things like your credit card account. You can actually, if you have, let's say, a Chase credit card, you can actually log into Chase in this app, and it'll pull down all your transactions. Let's say you have a First Tennessee or First Horizon bank account. You can log into that, pulls down all your bank accounts, all your transactions, not just at that moment, but also at, like, once a day, right? So the idea of having to download, copy, paste statements, all that, it does all this stuff for you. And I used to use Mint previously. I don't know if you guys have used Mint before. And I heard about Rocket Money. Well, let me try this. I've used Mint for a while. Let me try this. And Mint is, I kind of switched over here to this. The other thing is, of course, set up a budget. Okay. Now, once you have all this set up, and I'll walk you through some of this more, I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you my live account because I have dollars and things you guys don't need to see, but I am going to show you and kind of pull the curtains back. I have some screenshots I want to show you, not to brag, but to kind of show you a screenshot of what some of this looks like. Okay. You guys ready? Now, once I have all this up, remember I said one of the things it does is it can alert you, give you some email alerts. So the cool part about an email alert is what? Well, here's what it looks like. I got this email. This is an actual screenshot that I got in my email. You spent $1,466 last week, aka that's almost 7,000 less than normal. So I'm not a huge spender, but I do. My big thing is I like to travel, which is pretty fun. If you guys have ever get a chance to travel, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of a good break from the norm, right? And so again, why does this matter? Well, this brings to my attention certain things that I may not have known, right? Now, in the old days, those of you over 40, you probably understand balancing a checkbook, and you didn't really get these kind of insights or alerts or FYI. You probably didn't get this previously, right? But this is one of the cool things that brings you alerts. Once you have everything set up, this will come into your inbox. Now, another thing it says is, hey, what about what's coming up next week? Well, here's I got some 9 recurring charges due, and these are real numbers. Capital One, 752, Erie Insurance, 595, Chase credit card, $10,000, right? So these are like expenses and bills that are coming up that obviously I need to make sure I have the money in the right accounts for all this stuff to flow through. Now, I'm probably like you guys. I don't keep tons of cash in my actual checking account. I sweep a lot of it into my investment accounts and just keep, whatever's needed to pay the monthly bills and some change, some breathing room. So I don't have, so if you're looking at my checking account, it doesn't have tons of money. It's just to pay the bill. That's it. And I sweep all the extras into other accounts and put the money to work for me. Probably like some of you guys may do that as well. Well, here's another example. You guys ready? Here's another example. Biggest changes in spending. Again, if you just have an old school checkbook and you're putting checks in the mail, old school with stamps, look at this. Your average, this is me. I am guilty. I do spend a little bit of money on travel. So it's telling me I spent this compared to this. So my entertainment and recreation, I spend a little bit versus this, right? Groceries, this versus this. Now, obviously, if I'm out of town for a week, I'm probably not going to spend a lot of money at Kroger, right? And so I might spend this if I am home. It's probably not going to spend a lot if I'm not home or if I'm traveling, right? Does that make sense? And so again, what this does is I'm able to connect checking accounts, credit card accounts. If you guys have, I don't have student loans because I didn't go do the full college thing, but you have student loans. So you're able to actually log in using a third-party tool, and it'll actually connect and download all your transactions and put it into a kind of a single location, which is super helpful. Okay. Now here's come to Jesus moment. Why do I like Rocket Money? Well, it's free. And why do I like it if it's free? Well, of course, it means I'm going to get my money's worth. Obviously, right? Obviously, if it's free, I'm getting my money's worth. I can't say I want a refund. Now, I do pay a few extra dollars for like the premium version. You guys don't have to do that. I forget why I even unlocked that, but start with the free version. See what you think. Okay. The other thing is it tells you what money you're spending on. I just showed you a couple alerts, a couple screenshots, and we'll look through some more of what those look like here in just a few minutes. But here's a couple more things that are super helpful. Is what subscriptions do you have? It reminds you. Now, I didn't know this, and I'll show you this, but they actually have a whole entire screen that shows you things like your iTunes subscriptions just for iTunes. Well, you guys may know this, but on your credit card, or your debit card, it only shows an Apple.com transaction. It doesn't really tell you what it's for, right? So I'll show you that here in a sec. But what about things like upcoming bills or potential problems? Hey, you got a $10,000 bill, and the account that's going to pay it doesn't have. You have to move money around, right? So it kind of alerts you to potential problems. Now, one of the things I want to show you guys, again, this is some personal stuff. You guys' numbers will look a little different. What about a large transaction? So I got this email and it says, oh, Airbnb charged me $845. So then I'm like, dang, there's fraud, right? No, actually my wife. I heard a funny joke. My friend, he said that his wife, someone stole his wife's credit card, and he's like, I'm not going to report it because they're actually spending less than she does. I'm joking. He's joking, of course, but it's pretty funny. But in this case, Airbnb, $845. Again, it says, hey, we noticed a large transaction. Now, if you have a budget set up, it'll tell you whether or not it's in a specific category, like, oh, Airbnb automatically goes to the travel budget, right? What about things like recurring charges? What about recurring charges? What about something like your monthly subscriptions? This is an actual live screenshot of mine. Netflix in 3 days, $17. Angel Studios, $21. Amazon Prime. I don't remember if that's annual or monthly, but that's coming up. AT&T, my phone bill, or cell phones, right? And my internet. So Erie Insurance. I don't know why I have several Erie Insurance charges, but right. So the idea is it kind of reminds you of your recurring charges. Then it puts on a calendar and says, oh, by the way, you got X number of charges due in the next X number of days, right? Does that make sense? So it's super helpful. Again, if you're old school budget, or if you use the old Excel spreadsheet or something super old school, this is significantly far superior. Now, you remember when I told you about iTunes? This is literally my screenshot of iTunes. I'm like, what the heck is happening in my iTunes account? Like, what are all these charges? I have no idea. But obviously, I can look now that it's brought to my attention. And here's what I want you guys to look at. You spent $1,500 over 2 years, 4 months. I have no idea. I really have no idea what that is. I do pay a little bit extra for iCloud storage, and I think that's once a year. But the rest of them, I have no idea. Now, once it's brought to my attention, guess what? I can now go into my iTunes subscriptions and actually look. And if you're not careful, some of you guys probably know this, when you download apps, sometimes they have in-app purchases, right? And so then the question is, what am I getting charged over and over and over? Well, you will notice if I go back a little bit, these aren't necessarily subscriptions, because all these dollar amounts are different pretty much every single month, right? So it's not, except the 20th has this $9.99. I think that's my iCloud, right? My extra storage. So like these charges here show up around the 20th, 21st of the month, right? So these are the only things that I think are actual subscriptions. The rest, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what it is. But now that it literally sent me this today, guess what? No, it's not audiobooks, because I use Audible for that. I don't know. I really have no idea what this is. But guess what? Now that it brought it to my attention, I can, guess what? Take action, right? Again, I saw like 15. What? Who was ripping me off. Well, I probably subscribed to something. My oldest daughter, she's 22. Her biggest thing that she brings up to me, she's like, Dad, I don't know why these companies keep charging me. I bought something and they keep charging me. And I'm like, you probably joined a subscription. She was like, well, I thought I just bought the vitamins one time. I'm like, no, no. Oh, silly girl. No, you actually joined a subscription, right? And they're charging you monthly. It's like, oh, okay. And so obviously those are the kind of things that I think are super helpful. Just to know. Okay. Now let's let's look at another embarrassing slide. You spent 12,955 less than last month. Well, what are we looking at? Well, normally this is like it can analyze as AI tools to analyze your spending patterns. So for me, this is like the normal spending pattern. You guys can ignore this. Don't look over there. Few numbers, actual real screenshots. But what I want you guys to think about is like, I'm chilling out a little bit more now that all this has come to my attention. I'm chilling out. I'm not spending as much. I'm not a right. I'm not my wife's the free spirit. I'm more of the saver. And so I'm able to take action and be aware of these kinds of these kinds of charges. Now, the other thing that is super helpful, again, I'm just a huge fan of Rocket Money. I could probably do a commercial for them. But here's another thing it does show you is here's your transactions, right? Now, I do have multiple bank accounts as you guys do. So some of this is transfer from one account to another. Here's my Tesla charging when I drove 5 hours the other day. Here's the drive back. I spent 15 bucks, 14 bucks. I did get a bottle of wine. I did a little wine flight and the ladies talked me into a bottle of wine. Sorry. So insurance, right? PayPal. So all these are things that come through automatically. Now, these are not all, as you guys can see, this is multiple accounts. This is a PayPal account, right? There's a transfer from one account to another. This is my normal bills. And so what happens, it automatically puts these in categories. Now this one's uncategorized. Again, I need to fix that. But imagine setting up a budget every month and you have transportation, right? You got your bills and you're putting these in specific buckets, specific actual categories so that you can look at it and kind of determine every transaction that comes in, like where does it go, right? And so I started building this budget out. I'll show you guys in a little bit in a sec how this works. But the idea is any money that you have come in that goes to bills, everything else is considered potential savings, right? So I'll show you what that looks like. It's pretty nifty here. And so this is how much I spend on auto and transport, $752, groceries, a little bit. I'm not sure what that's for. It's not credit cards. And then everything else, right? And I got to expand this, try to build this out and kind of split it into multiple buckets a little bit more. And then projected savings, 4,300 bucks for the month, right? So this is all examples of how you can set this up. And obviously if I have my income the same and I was able to jump into and save $2,000 or $3,000, not go crazy on spending or travel, right? I like to go out to eat and I like to travel. That's my thing. And if I was to chill out a little bit, then I could probably save more money in a certain month, right? If I can keep it under wraps. So the other thing that's super helpful here is you can see like your spending habits over time. So what you'll see here is based on those little icons you saw, it does actually build a little budget for you here. So it's saying, here's some information, each of these little budgets. And then this is my uncategorized, I got to kind of spend more time on. And what it's showing is, yeah, I did spend a little bit in December. Now, why did I spend almost 70,000 in December? Have you guys ever been to Hawaii? It's pretty expensive. And so family of four, we went to Hawaii for almost 2 weeks, right? And it is very expensive. So that's part of it. And we're kind of launching some new projects. So this does not include any business accounts. It's all personal, all stuff. I did not, I don't think there's a way to connect business accounts. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys some of the cool stuff that I'm doing and some of the cool things that are in here that are pretty powerful inside of Rocket Money. Now, of course, you do have the iPhone app, which tells you a lot of the same information in different view. So these are screenshots, of course, from desktop But I wanted to see a little bit if you guys have any questions, or I do want to ask also a question here for you guys is here's the the other thing that 81% from March. I'm down. I'm saving money, Gina. I'm not being such a crazy person. So here's my question for you guys. You ready? Will this help you better understand your current financial health? What do you guys think? You think this is helpful? If you use a tool like this to kind of get your arms around all the moving parts, it's not a simple thing. You got money coming in, you got money going out, you got car payments. Some of you may have student loans, mortgages, credit cards, like all the things, right? Like the world's in a kind of a funky place in general. So don't feel bad if you don't have your arms around all the moving parts. This is a little bit of a complex topic, but I did want to kind of share with you guys kind of my thoughts and all the things that I have related to Rocket Money. That's been I've been pretty impressed, especially up until recently when I just switched to some of the paid version. I'm pretty impressed with just the free pieces only is pretty powerful. And at a minimum, you can certainly get your arms around. And actionable is today. Go ahead and download the app on your phone. Go ahead and connect some accounts, create a free account, and give it a few days, and it'll start telling you, hey, realize Nick Sherman, you got 27 subscriptions, or Luther, did you know you have a big transaction coming up, or Gina, you're spending too much on medicine, or I don't know, right? It'll actually help you understand your own financial picture. And again, why does any of this matter, guys? Does anyone know why this really even matters? Yeah, I used to use Mint for many, many, many years, tons of years. Yeah. Well, remember what I asked you originally, or what my Mattism is? Money is like rainwater. It goes wherever you allow it to go. So same thing here with your personal finance. If you can get your arms around all the moving parts of where your money goes. Again, I'm surprised that some of them, like, I didn't know that. I didn't know we spend money on Airbnb. I didn't know it helps to have a better, like, complete picture of what it does. Now, there are a few accounts that I have that it doesn't quite connect to. They told me they're supporting it in the next 60 to 90 days. So that's fine. I can live without a few accounts being connected that I don't use a ton. That's fine. But it does help you kind of track your credit scores over time. Helps you attract or track your spending habits, your personal budget, and all the transactions go into a bucket, right, automatically, and you can build rules to make it do all that. So, yep. You can't manage what you can't measure. Absolutely. So that's what I have for you guys. I'm super excited about. Hopefully, I've made a pretty good case for all of you to go ahead and at least get the free version, see what you think. And what I'd love to do for you guys is have we do have a group in our, I don't know if you guys know this, but we do have a small group. I don't know if it's in premium or not, but somewhere in our community we have, let's see where we at. We do have okay, I guess it's in the premium version, but we do have a personal finance retirement small group. And I'd love to hear your thoughts if you guys want to throw it there, or in the regular community. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what specifically, anything that it helped you maybe in a week or two, any aha moments that have come from the actual using of Rocket Money, again, for free. So you're definitely going to get your money's worth. You're going to 10x your investment, right? So I want to see if you guys have any questions for me. Go ahead and unmute, ask away. Otherwise, that's what I got for you guys. Adam Bell, what's going on? Nobody got questions.
Anthony, I think it's a great reminder to kind of put our financial life in order. Thank you so much.
It is. And
I definitely need that right now.
We're all going through different stages in life, right? Like you're grown up, moved out of the house. You have younger ones, right? You just got back from Hawaii. Like everything's in flux all the time, always, right? That's how it is. Yep. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Brandy? Gina? Jonathan? Luther? Any questions?
Yeah, man. I've been using it, but not probably as much as I should to keep track of stuff. But
Yep.
It is a pretty neat little app.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys have probably seen the ad on, I see it mostly on YouTube.
Yeah, they advertise a lot.
Yeah, where they're like,
gotta
how many, let me ask you a question. How many subscriptions do you have? She's like, I think I have 4. And she downloads it. And I tried that. That ad's a little fictitious because it does take about 30 minutes to download everything. And obviously, you know, he makes it sound like it takes 4 seconds to tell her the real answer, you know, as she thought she, you know, had Netflix and Spotify or something. And there's a whole bunch of things. So to me, I got some things that I've been, and again, I said I set this up back in December, and every week or two, it tells me something I didn't know. I'm like, dang, why do I have so many dang iTunes subscriptions? I don't know, but they sent me email today on how to check and cancel it. The other thing they can do is they can like try to cancel something for you. There's been 1 or 2 things I tried, and it's like, oh, we can't cancel that for you. Just call them. It's funny. It's like, we will help you. And our help is to tell you to call them. Funny. It is a lot easier than downloading the statements. Yeah, it does all the work for you. Yeah, awesome. Cool. All right, team, that's what I have for you guys. I'd love to hear any aha moments you guys have in the community. Otherwise, that's it. I will share the recording here shortly. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Yep.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.